Here is my knife. Well, I let him go this time. Let's clear up a few things from part one before we start in the sci-fi examples. First of all, sloped armor. Is it effective against beam weapons, radiation, things like that? Yes. First of all, you have the perceived increase in thickness as you angle back and you drill a hole through it, say like with a beam weapon, you are creating a hypotenuse through it. So it's the longest leg. It is actually thicker from the beam's perspective if it's angled. And also there is Lambert's cosine law. Let's imagine my iPad is a solar panel and you are somebody's sun. So if I point it directly at the sun, I get the most energy. And the more I turn it away, the less and less energy I get. Okay, so there is a mathematical way to figure that out. The variable you plug in is the cosine of this angle from the sun to the solar panel. So when you get it way over here, the only thing you're getting is reflected light from the environment. Now, what if it's a coherent beam and there is no reflected light? So Lambert's cosine law. And here's some examples here. It shows the actual numbers that as you get more and more angle, it's less and less effective. And of course, here you can put it in an actual formula. But the point is, angled armor is just as effective against beams and things like that as it is against physical projectiles. And that works not just for tanks, but starships and things like that as well. Second issue, what is a main battle tank? Well, during World War II, you had light tanks, medium tanks, and heavy tanks. Your heavy tanks did a lot of breakthrough work. Your light tanks did a lot of reconnaissance work. And General Montgomery wanted a universal tank, he said. And after the war, automotive technology improved significantly, and you could finally build a reliable heavy tank. Yay! Well, they couldn't during the war. And you can make it as fast as a medium tank was during the war. So with the Centurion, that's what they got. They got one tank that could kind of do it all. Well, you're not going to airdrop it. It's not going to be amphibious, but it can do most of the things the tank needs to do. Now, some people say the Panther in the war, but nobody copied the Panther. Everybody copied Centurion. So that is the trend setter. All tanks today look like the Centurion. But I don't think it affects our work that much. It's a design trend. It may not always be that way. There's no reason to assume it has to be that way with alien cultures. One more thing to touch on briefly. In World War II, the Germans' tank destroyers were differently designed than, say, the Americans. They'd take, say, a Panzer III chassis, take the turret off, and put a casemate on it and put in the gun from, let's say, a Panzer IV. So the gun was bigger than they could put in a turret on that design. They could put it in a turret on Panzer IV. They couldn't put it in a turret on this design. So used as a self-propelled gun, this chassis could carry a bigger gun than it normally could. And just remember that for later. And with that, let's get to the sci-fi designs. If you think back to the introductory video to this section, Strategy and Tactics, we talked about how Napoleon's tactics are still studied and used today, and about how Napoleon would only use a frontal attack to maintain the enemy's position and maintain their attention on him and keep him pinned down, while the real attack came around from the side with his cavalry. Well, that's still used today. Let's say an infantry platoon is marching through the woods. They'll separate into squads, and the first squad, let's say they spot the enemy, they will take them under fire, and that's your base of fire element. The other squad, holding back, will maneuver around the side, that's your maneuver element, and they'll come around the side, outflank them, and destroy them, just like Napoleon did.
A company circles left to high ground, and over a hill finds more than a dozen panzers. The Shermans open fire.
We lost 3 Shermans. A company lost its commander and 2 platoon leaders. Their armor protection was superior to ours. Their hitability, superior to ours.
Leach's A Company fires smoke rounds to blind the Panthers, giving his Shermans time to move in close. That will enable them to target the Panthers' thinner, more vulnerable side armor.
I gave by the left flank. Let's go. When I dropped over, we were right in the middle of them. I hit them broadside. I'm giving a fire command. Gunner, traverse right, steady. And when I get on the tank, I said, fire. If I'd have hit them on the front like A Company did, they would have been bouncing off. But I hit them on the flank, and my guns would go right through the side of a German tank. Together, A Company and my company knocked out 9 Panthers.
By the end of the first day, the battlefield is littered with the hulks of 43 German Panzers. The Americans lose just 5 Shermans and 3 Hellcats.
So the tanks that topped the hill and started taking the Panthers under fire aren't supposed to win. Their job is to keep their attention, while the real attack comes from the side. That's Napoleon's tactics used in World War II. So tell me again about how our tanks sucked because we had to go around to the side to take them out. Y'all be sure to say it with conviction now. Anyway, all of that leads up to this. Isn't that the same thing? The rebels thought they were doing well. So keep drawing them out, keep drawing them out. The stormtroopers weren't supposed to win. They were just buying the time for the armor to come in from the side and wipe out the rebels. So you got a tank on the flank. Okay, it's not technically a tank, but they're using it that way here. You got a tank on the flank. All you can do is abandon your position, and the rebels just flee into the woods. So if you look between all the pretty explosions and everything, there are tactics being used here. The Empire is not stupid. They're employing real tactics that actually work there. Now, let's talk about this flank attack. Now, what's the advantage of using armor? Well, first of all, it's probably faster than your infantry troops, but aircraft, for instance, you can use them to come in and flank. Well, they can destroy the enemy in that position, but they can't occupy that position. They can't take it, occupy it. They'd have to land, and then they're vulnerable. Infantry, well, for them to come in and secure and occupy that territory, the base of fire element has to stop firing. Well, you never want to shoot at your own people, but would it be the end of the world if you keep firing your machine guns and rifles while your tanks move into that position? You know, tanks were invented to advance against machine gun and small arms fire. So they have a real advantage in doing this type of thing over anything else.
Separatist forces mercilessly batter the beautiful and elegant world of Christophsis. Unable to defend themselves any longer, the beautiful and elegant world of Christophsis. Unable to defend themselves any longer.
Check out the size of these doors. You see these battle droids here. They are roughly 7 feet tall, 2 meters. This door is probably, 3 or 4 stories tall. And it's made of metal. And it's several droids wide as well.
We're almost in position. Ready when you are, Steeler.
sniper. Get her. Roger, roger. Look, we have reinforcements. Hey, you're not a droid. Get down from there.
That tank has some firepower, and different power levels allow different firing rates. And check out this gun depression.
You lose, General Kenobi.
It's fast. It chased down the Gungan army when they were in full retreat. It hovers above the ground, so it's not going to get stuck in the mud or the snow or the sand. And they mass produce it, and they mass deploy it in those large landing craft they have. So it does seemingly everything right. But it's not the last word in armor protection. Probably none of those things would even dent an AT-AT. But good luck setting up an ambush with one of those. Good luck chasing down anybody with one of those. So every design has strengths and weaknesses. You can't optimize something for everything. That's against definition. So this tank does a lot of things right, but it comes at the cost of armor protection. Check out this terrain mobility.
General, we've been outflanked.
All units, fire at will!
Climb a sheer vertical rock face, and they use them in space. They have some firepower too.
Blasted Ahsoka, I told you to stay close to me.
I can't get much closer, Sky Guy.
Bring up the tanks!
We are detecting several Republic tanks moving in on the ridge in front of us.
Artillery, open fire!
I don't know how they do that, but the important thing is that they can do that. We've already illustrated the firepower of those Trade Federation tanks, and this ATTE took several hits until it got one in the right front leg, those small legs, maybe a weak point.
Fire!
Again, that small front leg. And those huge windows on the front that got penetrated here. Usually tanks are the strongest on the front, but these have huge windows. So they're very resilient on the sides. They can take hits from other tanks, but on the front and those small legs there are a couple of weak points. The way it's built, you can't depress the gun. So the pivot's way back here and the front of the tank's way up here. You can't depress it. And of course there is a gunner seated here and he is exposed. He's not inside the tank. But we did see at Geonosis the gun firing without a gunner sitting here, so it can be remotely fired. But let's look at that gun depression.
I know! Working on it!
Now recall this scene from earlier. The gun got some depression to shoot at the Droidekas, but it's facing broadside. See, that's the front of the tank over there. It's facing 90 degrees to the left to get some depression.
Amphibious.
Now, the X-Wings took out that walker not because they're powerful, but because they hit it in the weak spot, in the neck. Now note this ATM-6. There's a huge armor plate right where that shot would have come in. Opposite side, but it has it on both sides. So that's exactly where the shot came in. It has this huge armor plate protecting that. It has a huge armor plate protecting the moving parts of the gun here. It has huge armor plates protecting the moving parts of these guns. It has a huge armor plate protecting the moving parts of these legs. So it has extra armor all over the place. And check out these huge reinforced powerful front legs they have. And according to printed sources, these cut cords, so in case you try to trip them or something. So they have a counter for just about everything that's been done against walkers. And it has this big honking gun on it. And a friend of mine and I were talking once about how, this would have been better in a turret. But remember the German tank destroyers from earlier? This may be a bigger gun than they can put in a turret on this design. Mega Caliber 6 roughly translates to big honking gun. So, and watch, as big as this thing is, and this is an AT-AT, as big as this thing is, the whole thing rocks when the gun fires. So it's in a casemate. Now it does have some Traverse and Depression and all, they shot down at Luke. But it's not like a turret. But it may be a bigger gun than they can put in a turret, being a full-blown turbo laser. But to me, even though, I mean, this could be self-propelled artillery, an AT-AT could be self-propelled artillery, but to me, this is the heavy tank version. With all this extra armor, it's practically a walking slab of armor. Okay, so this is a heavy breakthrough tank, in my opinion. So we've seen all the different sizes, all the different capabilities in Star Wars. But we don't want this to be just the Star Wars show. So let's go ahead and hit something else.
Daddy's coming. Come on, you mother-loving chicks! Take some of this! You want some Louis?
Here we have From Space Above and Beyond a tank. What's that tank's name, Dee?
Pearly.
Okay, so Pearly has a lot of personality, and the guy was firing twin 50s from the top there. He chased away Chig starfighters with the twin 50s now, and the tank took fire from them and withstood it, and goes on to fight later, and they fight another tank. So let's take a look at that.
Hey, do you hear that?
I hear it.
That's a cheap T-77 tank. If we had a radio, I could figure out if they were heading towards us.
We turn the main power off, maybe they won't spot us.
We probably don't have enough power left to engage them anyway.
We just can't sit here blind. Let's open up our eyes.
Oh, no way.
He's moving at us like he knows exactly where we are. That's how they were homing in.
So they destroyed the homing device, but that's not what I'd do. I would have taken it and hot-footed out to the woods or to a disadvantaged position and lured them into that position while our tank got a good broadside shot.
500 meters to range solution.
Do it. Tank stops, we run our ass off to the rendezvous point.
Let's move. I need someone on the battle site range input.
I'm on it. I'm on the scope.
I need a gunner top side on the twin 50s.
I'll do it. Do you mind?
Who's the loader?
No loader, it's automatic.
Chig, 75 meters at noon.
Target acquired.
Tally-ho! Tally-ho, you monsters!
D-Dub.
Hold on, guys.
This beer's on you, Chiggy boy.
Direct hit! It's still coming!
Chig T-77 has a high-density ceramic front end. We'll need a side hit with a Sabo.
I got the wheels, you just tell me where to go.
65 degrees port, hard.
We're losing power. There's no way we can outmaneuver him.
Just keep moving. You'll get the side shot.
Hold!
Trust me.
10 degrees north! Closing!
He's locked on us!
Can't shake him!
things to note here. The Chig tank hovers. It has sloped armor. And each tank took hits from the other and survived and kept fighting. But our guys won because they had infantry support. He used a rocket and hit the underside armor of the Chig tank, and the other side didn't have infantry support. So anyway, that's obviously not comprehensive, but I wanted to keep it short and touch on a few highlights. And anything else, Dee?
I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next time.